Okay, I'm using FSD beta 10.8.1 and I have some complaints about this thing that make it almost unusable. And I'm going to go through several of these things. And, I realize this is, it's in beta, but these things have been going on for a long time. And I don't see a lot of changes in the way they're dealt with. Most of these things have not changed for quite a while, and I'm just going to go over a few things here that I see that I just don't think are viable for this to operate under. So let's see what I have. Now this corner I'm coming up to is kind of one of my standard ones I go to, and it's going to slow down much too late. It just jams on the brakes when we're getting far too close to the corner. Now it's going to slow down and stop for this corner. It kind of has to because there's crossing traffic, but normally it doesn't really stop. It just kind of rolls slowly through. Now here we're coming up and it's dropping down. Yeah, it's going to stop. And here I've slowed it down by quarter speed, and it's still just creeping forward, not looking for visibility or anything, just creeping forward. And then it's going to take off. Now it starts to take off. Here's normal speed, creeping forward, and then it takes off, and it actually accelerates a little too fast at that point. This kind of drives me Looney Tune because the thing ends up in the middle of the intersection sometimes, or at least what looks like the middle of the intersection, and everybody else is coming is wondering whether I'm going to take off and pull out in front of them or not. So it needs to, if it's going to stop, it actually should stop, and then if it's going to creep forward, it should creep forward and then stop again and take off with authority when it's ready to go. It's slowing down too late most of the time, and it's taking the corners too fast. So this kind of drives me Looney Tune as I'm driving along here. Now if we take a look at this one coming up, we're going to be making a right turn, and it's going to come up right here. Now you can see it's at 29 miles an hour, and I'm almost into the corner. It's right close there, and I'm still going 29 miles an hour. And it's going to turn very sharp, and it's going to actually be slowing down as it goes into the corner. See, it gets down to about 10 miles an hour after it gets through the corner. So it's figuring this stuff out way late and making these gigantic braking things that pretty much drive us all Looney Tune. And then, of course, there's the roundabouts. It never seems to be able to deal with roundabouts right. It always stops when it doesn't need to. This one here, there's plenty of room. The truck's blocking everything, but we're still down to 3 miles an hour. And the only reason we didn't stop completely is because I hit the throttle to get this thing to move through there because there was somebody on my butt end. So it goes around. It doesn't seem to want to go smoothly around these things. It's a little better than it used to be, but it seems to want to kind of jerk towards each exit for some reason. Can't figure that out. Now this one is probably the worst corner of all coming up here. Now here you can see we're at 34 miles an hour. We're starting to slow down, which is later than we should be, and it's put the brakes on hard to slow down for this corner. Now here we are coming up to it. It actually slowed down enough for this corner, but look where it's at. It's past the corner. It's down to 14 miles an hour, But we're almost completely past the corner, and it has to make this wild turn at the very end of this drive. Now this corner, we're going about 35 here, coming up to a corner, and it's going to slow down way too late again, as it has done before. Now you can see the speed is 35 miles an hour right there, and it's starting to slow down. Now as we come into the corner, we're still traveling at 25 miles an hour when I start the corner. And it kind of squares this thing off as it goes through. It's a little hard to tell, but if you watch it, you can see I got it in slow motion. And it's heading straight for that truck. And it gets closer to it than I would get to it. It's not real easy to see in the video, but it does appear to move towards the truck more than I would have. I would have rounded the corner off. In summary, the car slows too late for corners, takes corners much too fast, creeps into an intersection when it should be stopping, creeping, and stopping, starts through into the intersection too slowly, and then accelerates too fast. That gives drivers fits, wondering what I'm going to do. Potentially, these cars can be the smoothest operating cars on the road using their one-pedal driving and regenerative braking. But FSD has not taken advantage of that and instead makes it kind of a jerky, go fast, go slow sort of motion. That's what kind of drives me nuts about it. Until they've gotten that taken care of, full self-driving is not going to be viable. Okay, that's it on this one.